What's up, my friend? I'm health expert Ted Rice, and you are listening to the Legendary Life Podcast. If this is your first time listening, what this show is about, it's about clearing up health and fitness confusion so that you can learn the science-based ways to lose fat, prevent disease, and live a longer, healthier, legendary life. Today, we have a special treat. I have one of my clients, Jeff, on today to talk to you about his journey. So let me ask you this. Have you been working out hard? Have you been doing CrossFit, P90X, Insanity, high-intensity interval training, lifting weights, doing chest on Mondays, back on Tuesdays, legs on Wednesdays, so on and so forth? Have you tried keto? Have you tried paleo? Have you peed on ketone strips to make sure that you're in ketosis? Have you given up your favorite foods? Have you cut out carbs? And you're still not getting the results you want. And you're starting to think that maybe it's not for you. Maybe the problem is something with your physiology, and maybe it's just not going to happen. And maybe you've just got to settle for the way you are right now. Well, that's kind of where Jeff was. And then we talked, and Jeff has lost over 30 pounds in less than 4 months. Just incredible transformation. And guess what? He didn't give up after that. He's still with me. He's still working with me. The initial coaching investment of time is 12 weeks. He's still going strong. He wants to go all the way. He wants to create that true transformation. And in today's episode, he's going to tell you what he was doing wrong and then what he started doing right when he started working with me. And here's the thing. As I mentioned in the beginning, you're probably doing a lot of the things that Jeff was doing. And you probably don't think it's possible for you because you tried everything, haven't you? Except the thing that actually works. And so you're going to hear from Jeff about what he thought was the right way to do things, and then what he learned working with me, and then what message he has for you if you're trying to create a transformation for yourself. You're going to learn a lot. And without further ado, let's step into this conversation on transformation with my incredible client, Jeff. Jeff Crowley, thanks so much for joining me, man, and coming on and sharing your story. I can't wait to dive into this because you've had some incredible results. Before we do, can you just talk briefly about who you are, what you do, and the results that you've gotten?
Sure. So my name is Jeff Kroll. I'm 44 years old. I'm a financial advisor, and I've lost in just under 3 months, close to 30 pounds.
Awesome, Jeff. And let's talk a little bit about what you were doing before, because when we hopped on our initial call, you were doing all types of things. You were doing CrossFit. Can you just talk about what you were doing nutritionally and exercise-wise and the results that you were getting on your own?
Yeah, I would say, so prior to working with Ted, I was, from an exercise perspective, doing a little bit of everything. I was a member of a CrossFit gym, so I was doing that CrossFit type exercise 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, I was varying that with some weightlifting here and there at an LA Fitness, and then some sporadic cardio here and there, whether it was little high intensity interval training at certain points or just, moderately distant running, 2-3 miles here or there. From a nutrition perspective, I was doing everything. I was trying intermittent fasting for at given points. I was doing keto off and on, a little bit of everything. I was probably, through a culmination of all those things, kind of holding on, if you will, relative to what my goals were. I certainly was getting stronger, but from a physique perspective, I definitely wasn't losing weight in a consistent way, the way that I wanted to. But again, or when I did, I wasn't sustaining it. And that was kind of my experience prior to that. So I was doing a little bit of everything, a lot of research. I knew a lot about nutrition. I'd read a lot of books, a lot of blogs. Kind of was up to date on what I felt like everything, but it's kind of just, kind of a hodgepodge, if you will, of application.
I hear you. And when you joined the program, let's talk a little bit about that. What were the results? What happened? What was your experience? Nearly lost 30 pounds. What would you say to someone about, the results that you've gotten in a little bit more in detail?
Well, I think the thing that was, and we talk about this at my job quite a bit about, I'm working hard. Are you working hard or are you working smart? I was definitely working hard before. I think through this program, what I got was working smart, both on the nutrition and the exercise front. I honestly feel like I'm not working as hard as I was before on both fronts, and, I think I feel like what you did for me more than anything was organize my plan. You gave me a plan. I was throwing a lot of stuff against the wall before, and it was going, all right, here's your foundation. Here's your plan. Stick to this. And I had to kind of let go of everything, start it. I was very strict at the beginning in terms of like what that plan was. It wasn't hard. It was just strict. And then once you had that, it really kind of just fell into place for me, which was really great. I had all the different tools. I just didn't know how to put them all together. And so I found, for me, it was easy. I mean, the first week I started seeing results, and, it hasn't been a linear line for the results all the way through from the past 3 months. But honestly, it's been pretty close to that. I mean, it's almost like we started and then the ball's been pushed downhill, and I'm here where I am right now. And I really don't feel like I'm working.
I love it because there's no need, right?
Yeah.
No need to work so hard, especially if you're not getting a return on investment. And so many people think it's like, oh, well, it's a metabolism thing, or maybe it's my age or whatever. And I was actually there personally. What would you say now, like to someone who's making those excuses or saying maybe what you said to yourself where you're working so hard, but maybe you see a difference, but then you can't sustain it? What would you say to that person?
Well, I think for me, I would not, so I'm a firm believer in coaching, and part of it was getting someone that has done it, that has seen the results, that knows what they're doing, that I could just let go and put some trust in. I don't know that I ever would have gotten there in a sustained place on my own. Even though I knew it all, and I don't want to act like there are things that you haven't told me that I didn't realize. But I won't say there was anything you haven't said anything to me that's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never heard that before. But I would not have organized it myself in the way that you had, in a really simplistic, sustainable, practical way to get the results that I want.
Yeah, and it's such a good point, because now we're not in a situation where nobody knows what to do. Everybody knows all these different protocols, nutrition approaches, diets, and it's like information overload. So what do you focus on? What do you focus on, and what really moves the needle? And so many people aren't results oriented. They're like, no, I'm doing this. It's like, yeah, but you're not getting results, so it's not working. And it's like, no, It must be my hormones, or maybe my metabolism, my age. I'm getting to be that age. All my friends look the same way like I do. And really, it's none of those things are true. And you've proved that to yourself. So let me ask you this. Like, for someone who is, so like you said, you believe in coaching, and obviously so do I. I have coaches in a number of different areas in my life. Some people haven't made that switch yet. And unfortunately, those people are going to really struggle in whatever area they're in. But for the people who really do understand the value of coaching, like yourself, what would you say to a person who's on the fence about like doing a coaching program for their body? And specifically with me, what do you think that person should know? Because I'm definitely not the coach for everybody. I can get results with anybody, but they've got to be willing to do the work and got to be coachable. What would you say to a person who is thinking about doing this so that they can make the right decision about, whether this coaching program is right for them or not?
Yeah, I'd say couple things. One is, and I think one of the things that kind of becomes the elephant in the room is cost. And if that is a barrier for someone, one of the things that I did was I looked at what I was spending in every other place in this journey and where I wasn't getting results, whether it was from supplements that weren't doing anything for me, or different, foods, or exercise equipment, or memberships, or all of those types of things. And so I'll say first and foremost, if that's a barrier, I think that's something that you could look at to try to, you're spending a lot of money probably to begin with. And even if you aren't, you're probably going to be spending money health-wise. And so I would suggest, kind of look at what you're doing today and where you can kind of reorganize things to eliminate that barrier. The second thing is, I would say, that has been helpful for me is you're not like you're giving us the tools to fish. It's not go do this and this is the one size fits all thing for everybody. I've presented a couple situations for you throughout my journey where I've said, what would you do here? And you kind of turned it back around and said, well, I don't know. What would you do based on this, this, and this? So I think that element to this kind of fit, again, everybody, I think the relationship is the number one thing, but everybody doesn't have a one size fits all thing. And I think those are the things that you bring that I just feel good about, not only just the time that we've spent in this focused amount together, but also how are you going to take these things and apply them on a go forward? It's one thing to just sign up for something and get a 3-month result that then goes away. I really feel like you've given me tools that I can use. I can always use.
Love it. Yeah, that's the job, right? Get it done once, get it done right, and don't worry about it again.
Right.
One thing I would love to talk about, but before I let you go, Jeff, is people might think like, oh, so the people who come into the program or interested in the program, they always come with these ideas like, oh, I've got to be super strict with my nutrition. I can't go out to eat. I got to be super careful with business meetings. That happened during dinner because of the prime rib and the baked potato and all the other things that come with like maybe a steak dinner out with your financial buddies, your business buddies. What would you say? Because you've had those situations come up for you. You went and enjoyed yourself, and then you got back on track. And then in fact, that wasn't even off track. You were on track. It was just part of the track. What would you say to a person who really thinks they need to give up their favorite foods and give up their lifestyle? Like, what would you say to that person who believes those things?
I would say you don't need to do it. Now, I think you've given me tools and a foundation to maintain where I'm at and to give flexibility and eat the things that I want to. Now there are here's where I would put it. Like I used to eat pints of ice cream on a really regular basis. So I can't do that anymore. I can still eat ice cream though. And I can find a way to, and the reality of it, I probably could find a way to eat a pint of ice cream here or there. If we're really honest about it. But it's putting all of it into context of how do you make it fit? And, there are building blocks to try to do those things that I just feel very comfortable with. You asked me recently, how comfortable do you feel in terms of like if you slipped up or, and I don't even know if that's the right word, but like let's say you had an indulgence and it could be a meal indulgence, a day indulgence, heck, a week indulgence based on a vacation. And I said, one, I think those things will happen and I might enjoy those. And two, I feel 100% confident that I've got the tools to manage that and be cool with it. I should have those. Now, again, should I eat a pint of ice cream every day? No. I think I have the tools if I did do that to understand what I was doing and where I was sacrificing, the optimal level of nutrition relative to it. But I would know how it fits in and how it's going to affect me in a way that I didn't before. So that's what I would say relative to that.
Man, that is such a great answer. Such a great answer. And hopefully that gives hope to people who think that being lean, even at a high level of leanness, right? Which we're working on getting you to, right? You've got this, it requires, now maybe if you wanted to get on stage in a bodybuilding competition or physique competition, that's something different. It's not what I do either. I'm all about that lifestyle. I got my Oreo cookies and cream, ice cream cake that I've been slicing, eating a few slices of every week. But that's the type of thing that's possible. And you can get great results, better results than you've ever gotten ever. And you can do it in a way where, like you said, you could eat ice cream a little bit every night or something like that. But you've got to put in the work initially to learn the foundation. You've got to do some things. But that's what's possible if you're willing to do the work, right?
Absolutely.
What would you say? Any follow-ups to that, Jeff?
No. Well, the only other thing I would say is, and this might, but I feel great. And one of the other things, and so that's awesome. I'm more confident. I would have not expected that I would be where even though I was confident in terms of the journey and the plan. If you rewound back to January and said, "Hey, you're going to be where you are in March," I'd be like, "Wow, that's going to. Am I going to be able to do that?" And as great as I feel, one of the things I feel like that I appreciate about you is you're like, it's not like, I'm not sitting here though. I don't feel like a different person. Like it's not, this isn't the end all be all. And so one of the things what I mean by that is, I appreciate your kind of view about where are you mentally, what are the other things that you're doing to try to order your life around your stresses, where you're spending time, because just being quote unquote in shape or feeling good about yourself physically isn't going to solve everybody's purpose or feeling or those types of things. So I don't want to lose sight of the fact that I do need to be here, and I do feel like that feels great. I also am not like, oh, this is just the solution to every single problem I've ever had, or I feel so fulfilled, or whatever it may be. So what I really kind of like about your approach is like, so we've got that done, and now, we've started even talking about, what's next, or how does the journey continue? How do you not just beyond maintaining this, but how do you fully optimize or feel good about, where you go now, mentally? Do you want to optimize nutrition now? Or do you want to take it to another level? Do you not? Do you want to just, so I just appreciate your kind of holistic view of or approach to all of this.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. I sometimes forget to mention those things, but yeah, we focus on a lot more because like you said, there's very fit people who are not happy in their life. I used to be one of them in my late 20s.
Right.
And so if we don't work on those areas, even though you were already doing well, you got a beautiful family, 4 kids, beautiful wife, beautiful situation, but there's always, whether you're trying to work on something that's where you're kind of stuck, or whether like you, where you're trying to take things to the next level, there's always something to work on. There's no one so enlightened that we don't need to work on themselves, is a quote that I love. And like you said, being lean, it's great, but it's not the answer to all the problems. You still got to put in the work. There's still other things that you want to accomplish, other goals. So thanks so much for bringing that up. It's so important to hear that.
Absolutely. Only other thing I would say is one of the biggest foundational successes I got was from one of the group coaching calls it was a random thing that someone said one time, and it had to do with a specific meal. It just was kind of a random thing. And I latched onto that. And so it was just, she probably doesn't even know that she did it. And I'm like, wow, she gave me something that is like literally a foundation of something I do every day. And so you just never know where some of the gems are going to come from.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, the group coaching calls can really, people help each other. And that's so nice to hear, right? Because it's not all about me. It's that group. We've got some amazing people in there. Well, Jeff, thanks so much, man. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on the transformation that you made, not just in your body, but in your whole approach, so that you'll be able to, stay with this for the rest of your life. Just an honor, a privilege, and to have you in the group. And thanks so much for doing this.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Well, that wraps it up. What was your big takeaway from Jeff's journey, from Jeff's story, from all the things he tried, to finally achieving results that he never thought was even possible? He was doing everything right. He did the keto. He did the low carb. He gave up his favorite foods. And now he's doing it all. Well, I don't need to sell you on it. You heard it, didn't you? That's it for now. Speak to you soon. This podcast is sponsored by the Legendary Life Program. The Legendary Life Program is a 90-day coaching program where I work with you to upgrade your health, burn fat, and transform your body while you enjoy your life and eat the foods that you love. So if you're over 40, you've tried everything and nothing has worked long-term, or if you're tired of restrictive dieting and time-consuming workouts, this might be the right program for you. So if you want to learn more about my program, watch my brand new masterclass where I teach you the 5-step process our busy clients are using to build a leaner, stronger, and healthier body 3 times faster without boot camps, CrossFit, high-intensity interval training, Pilates, intermittent fasting, going keto, or quick fixes that don't work long-term. Go to legendarylifepodcast.com/free. That's legendarylifepodcast.com/free.